English now, not to make confusing things even more confusing for people. We're not yet live on Twitter.
We should be. Let's give a few minutes, few seconds.
Sure. I think it's because the time is set for 8 and it will probably kick in at 8 straight.
I have no idea is it connected,
Uh-huh.
but
If
actually I am checking our YouTube and we are live there.
Excellent. Yes, I can see in your Twitter as well that you are now,
Actually, yeah.
uh, yeah, broadcasting.
Oh, awesome. So we did it.
Let's see if we are live on Twitter. I can see that you are live streaming via your feed, but is our Twitter space live? I can't see that yet.
Let me check it.
Mm-hmm. We've got 4 viewers. We are not alone in this virtual space anymore.
Oh my gosh, for listeners, it's time to start sweating.
I think I'm sweating because it's plus 13 Kyiv today.
All right. So the reason is not a Twitter, right?
No anxiety and public speaking fears involved whatsoever.
So we are live on Twitter and on YouTube. So I think we may start. Maybe I'll just take a second to post a link on my Facebook.
Excellent. Excellent.
And
I'll just share your live streaming on my Twitter account. What does your username mean?
Mare Verborum, it's Latin. So a lot of many words from Latin.
Incredible. This is how I know a person from Kyiv Mohyla Academy. They would have a Latin username.
Yeah, so nerdy stuff. So hi everyone, it's War-Life Balance at our first episode. So my name is Maria Shuvalova and my co-host is Sasha Dobrik. So
Hi.
we're both literary scholars and we're both in Ukraine. So first maybe I will tell about where we get the idea of this show and what we're going to do here. So during the war, during first day of the war, I had few just TV interviews, and after that, people reached me in Twitter or Facebook, and we had small talks. And few people wrote me that I was the first Ukrainian they talked with. Yeah, it was very strange experience. And I just thought that people all around the world heard about Ukraine, but they have never had a chance just to talk, to chat with Ukrainians and have informal conversations. And because I felt the need of this human touch, and because of lack of certain skills like video editing or special equipment for doing YouTube streams with video, I decided that talking on Twitter live and streaming that and just talking with my friends who knows English and answering the questions, that would be really nice. And here we are going to talk with my friends and discuss ordinary stories about routine daily life because Ukrainians' ordinary stories explain a lot and they're funny, they may be useful. And you know, we're reading a lot about war, about resistance, about sanctions, about politic decisions, but in the end, it's all about people. But it's really easy to forget that while we're reading analytic research articles. So this space is for communication and human touch. And it's not exclusively Ukrainian because while we're discussing life in Ukraine, it's still about basic things like seeking safety, earning for a living, for about civil society, about management, like crisis management. Maybe this part will be useful. if there is CEO or company owners among our listeners. It's about justice.
Placing some ads on the job market. Just look at these amazing people. It's such a pool of talent. If any CEOs are on a lookout for talents, don't look any further. Here we are. Sorry for interrupting you, Maria.
That was brilliant.
We promised some informality, so I think I will be just stealing the mic and saying stupid things into it.
I think it's cool. I really love it. So, and this talks also about justice, about love, about cats, and about culture. So it's like Oprah Winfrey, but military audio edition.
Excellent.
Yeah, and my co-host is Sasha Dovzhik, and I have three reasons why she's a co-host. Are you ready for my three reasons, Alexandra?
I am just holding my breath.
So the first reason that you have a great sense of humor.
Oh my god, it's a lot of pressure. I will be forced to make funny jokes now. Not promising anything.
Okay. In case you're just making really bad joke, we can swear that it's hilarious in Ukrainian.
Oh my god, this is such a nice tip. I will be using it forever now.
Yeah, support, you know. And another reason Alexandra is co-host that she's Ukrainian. And I have a lot of questions for her because like I remember that I met Alexandra on the pages of Los Angeles book reviews, and I read her article about Lesya Ukrainka and thought, oh my gosh, this Sasha Dovzhik is amazing. Then we were organizing online conference about Lesya Ukrainka, it's Ukrainian writer. And we decided that, oh my gosh, we should be brave and invite Sasha Dovzhik to our conference. And Sasha agreed. It was a huge pleasure to watch her paper presentation. And then, like, full-scale military invasion happened. And I think it was maybe fifth day of the war or sixth day of the war. I and my friends, we started fundraising for body armor and helmets, and Alexandra sent us a lot of donations, and she was so supportive. And I were just asking how she is doing, and she answered that she is in Ukraine. So I thought, gosh, Alexandra, you are working in London. There is no bombardment there. So why, when you got to Ukraine, and why you decided to stay in a country which is under heavy shelling?
After such an amazing introduction, it's all downhill from this high point. I hope we will return to my excellent host Maria and speak about her. But yeah, let's start with how I ended up in Ukraine at the start of the full-scale invasion. Um, I think the reason is that I have a very poor self-preservation instinct and also a very good preservation instinct when it comes to my loved ones. So you remember there was a point last year when Russia started amassing troops at the border. It
Yeah.
was really scary, and something was in the air, and I had a sense that something was brewing, and I decided I would just go and see what happens and if I can be of any use, because my family is in Zaporizhia, which is now a frontline city. The front is basically 50 kilometers away from where my parents lived. So I went to Lviv, which was the safest spot in Ukraine at that point. And I started some kind of weird preparations for I didn't know what. And that unknown happened on the 24th of February, obviously, when Russia invaded our country. And I had something set up for the evacuation of my parents and of my friends and of friends of friends. And then I realized I just couldn't leave because there were just too many people to evacuate from places on the front line. And I got involved with managing the internally displaced in Lviv. And then I got involved with international journalists who were also coming into the country through the western city of Lviv and who were covering the situation on the ground. That turned out to be quite, useful application of my linguistic skills. And since then, I have really found it hard to move from Ukraine to places that are not being bombarded at the moment. It's addictive. It's addictive. Let's face it.
Yeah, I just love how you said I started my preparation to I don't know what. Brilliant. It's just brilliant, it will be my motto.
Just prepare just in case. You never know. You never know. Maria, what I know about you is that you are absolutely brilliant, a charming organizer, a PhD student finishing her PhD at the Kiev Mohila Academy, which is also my alma mater and one of the main Ukrainian universities and the oldest one at that.
Well, let's enjoy this fact. When our university was lecturing and teaching, Moscow was not existing.
Yay! Fun facts about Ukraine. Just take out your notebooks, guys. And now, since February, I know you as this absolutely super efficient volunteer who is managing insane logistics for frontline deliveries and helping battalions all over the country, including a group of women fighters, as far as I know. How do you combine all these things? How do you mix and match your scholarly life and something completely unexpected like volunteering for the Ukrainian military?
Yes, thank you for introduction. So basically, we are efficient because I am not alone. So it's huge network of my friends, and they are all connected with my university. So in general, when the war started, first people who reacted was people from academia, from my surrounding. I mean, and because probably they know history of Ukraine a lot, they were aware of current situation, and they just started helping and working just in a few hours. All my friends from my university, they are doing PhDs in different countries. So my friend Maria started organizing humanitarian aid on the 12 a.m. of the first day of the war. So it was very rapid reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first day of the war, my university stopped holding lectures, stopped working. So basically, for the first month, I just was I wasn't a scholar. I wasn't doing my scholarly work, but uh, just one my relative who were defending Kiev, and I left Kiev in the first week of the war, and we find a little bit safer place, not so far from Kiev, but it's in the third day of the war. It started being actively bombarded, but there was very nice basement. Not everyone is having basement with a couch, haha. And my relative needed military boots. And how on earth can I get military boots if I'm not in Kiev and there is no roads to Kiev? They are old or bombarded by Russian troops, or it's just impossible to get to the Kiev. So I reached to my gym, and I texted in stories to my gym, like, guys, when I were going to the gym, I remember a lot of man footwear, but my relatives needed one. But of course, it's much better to get tactical or military shoes because it's fireproof. And also, I reached my friend Irina. I hope Irina is listening us here now because look, she's my bestie in all this volunteering stuff. She's amazing. So Irina, she left Kiev in the first day of the war. She slept a night in a safe place and then got back to Kiev and decided to join territorial defense.
As one does. As one does.
Yeah. And she was really upset because there was no weapon for her. Like
Mhm.
all weapon was hand out, so no weapon, no territorial defense. and she found boots for my brother. Yeah, I don't wanted to say who is that relative for me, and he said that cool. Now he's having footwear, but actually his unit really needs helmets and body armor, and we were shocked because we know that it's stuff that's saving lives, but how? I'm literary scholar, I have no idea what is body armor, where to buy it. Is it on like eBay or Amazon? No, I check it, you won't find it on Amazon. But as Irina had some military trainings before, and her family members are taking part in this war that actually started in 2014, she was more aware about all the specification, about features, where it's better to find it. So she started looking how she can buy it. And I started researching payment methods because during the first day of the war there were issued new banks regulations. It was impossible to buy something abroad, so
Mhm.
so much restriction. So we just divided our responsibilities and we decided to start our first fundraising in our life just on our Facebook. And we thought we would never done that because it was so much money, like $4,000 or $5,000. It's like huge for Ukraine, but we did it in 4 days, and we were so shocked. And it was I think it was the craziest story which happened during this war. How we were buying and ordering that, because during that time our place was heavily bombarded, so we were hiding in a basement, but we had an internet.
Yeah.
And um, I think everyone should know about digitalization in Ukraine, because it's really great reforms that Ukrainians on their smartphones can open their own business, can register their NGO, can pay taxes, so can do so much amazing things on smartphone without queues, and very efficient. Oh, I just love it. And during the war, we are under house shelling, and I'm in my basement. I am able to open virtual debit card. Well, and it was dollar card and euro card, and I'm able to get some donations without fees and commissions. And then our supplier told us that if we are paying in cryptocurrency, our order will be delivered to Ukraine much faster. And of course, we want body armor like yesterday. We wanted to have it yesterday. And we're sitting in the basement with my husband buying cryptocurrency in the middle of the war and paying for body armor. So it's unbelievable how technologies were helping us to do that. And by the way, recently was opened Ukraine cryptocurrency stock market. And it was all official and very useful with technical support, user friendly, because I am a literary scholar. I have no idea how to buy cryptocurrency, but then it, it was possible. So it's so nice to have all these technologies.
It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. Just imagining a basement, a bomb shelter full of people who are hiding from Russian bombs while also mining crypto and buying helmets all over the world. And I don't know, having a thought or two about literature, because a PhD has to be submitted at some point and read, and we also have to communicate about our fight to the outer world. So let's keep the informational work going on. So we are probably also sitting on Twitter and on Facebook and writing to our friends and answering questions from journalists at the same time. Easy, easy. This is Life of Ukrainians since February, and it looks like we are good at it, right?
Surprisingly, I wanted to discuss that with you when I asked why you decided to stay in Ukraine. Because if you when you're talking with journalists, they are often asking you like, why you aren't leaving your country, like you can find a safe place. And I was surprised, like I remember that Kyiv was under the control of Ukrainian forces on the fourth evening of the war. And
Mhm.
on the fourth evening of the war already existed chats when all these help requests were coordinated
Mhm.
and where people were already coordinated to start informational campaigns. They were translating a lot of things like 24/7. Like our translating agency also started translating pro bono. So I just saw that everyone near me is very efficient, very dedicated, and like, why should I leave my country? Like everyone is doing so great, it will end like in a few days. So like, uh, and it's the third month of the war, but still everyone is very dedicated and productive. We just war it's a little bit more complicated than to finish it in a few days.
Exactly, exactly. I'm laughing and thinking about Lesa Ukrainka because what else? What else would I think about? And her famous lines, "Щоб не плакать, я сміялась. In order not to cry, I laughed." Because
Yes.
yes, this is what we are good at. We're here for a long haul, apparently, and I don't know. There is a lot of work to be done here on the ground, and it seems like if you have this ability to do this, and you should just stick to it.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I have next questions pretty connected with that. So, what was your first reaction when you figured out about full-scale military invasion, and how much jobs are you having, taking into consideration how many adrenaline Ukrainians are having every day?
my first reaction was probably calling my parents and starting yelling at them so that they pack and move out of Zaporizhia as soon as possible, which they, thank God, did. And they are now in safety, so I can concentrate on other things. I started working with the internally displaced in Lviv, and I'm not a local in Lviv. I'm from the southeast of Ukraine, you see. But then it turned out that it takes about 1 day of a full-scale invasion to make you a local in Lviv and in possession of 15 keys from different apartments in the city, where you start hosting the people who are fleeing the frontline cities and towns and villages. So the level of trust among Ukrainians during the Russian invasion is absolutely extraordinary. We are really here for each other and helping each other with whatever we can. And this feeling of solidarity and support is absolutely addictive. And then I realized that apart from this work, there is also a lot to be done in terms of communication to the outer world of what is going on in Ukraine. Journalists started coming into the city, and it's really a privilege and an honor to show them what a badass force Ukrainians are. So I started working as a fixer or so-called local producer for international media in Lviv, and now I'm trying to do the same thing here in Kiev, while also doing my best not to completely screw my jobs in London, which are at my beloved Ukrainian Institute London, where I'm a special projects curator and trying to supervise a writing residency for a group of Ukrainian and British writers who will explain to the world something that does not need explaining anymore, that you have to approach global problems, global issues through the lens of Ukraine. Now it seems completely reasonable to say that our global problems in the spheres of environment, disinformation, modern warfare, should be approached through the lens of Ukraine. This was not the case when we thought about this project a year ago. But now, since it's obvious that Ukraine is really crucial and it can teach us some lessons about resistance to all these global issues, we are very excited about launching our writing residency and seeing what comes out of it.
Yeah, I adore London Ukrainian Institute. I follow you in all social media, guys. You should follow Ukrainian London Institute.
It's
It's
a
there.
shameless. plug, but I love it. Thank you, Maria.
Ukrainians are just great, and just it's just fascinating, and it's a huge. Well, sometimes journalists are saying to me, like, "Oh my gosh, you are so amazing, so extraordinary," and it's always a huge pleasure for me to say, "Just I am just ordinary Ukrainian." Because look, Alexandra, you are like managing the same crap I am managing. My friends are managing the same crap I'm managing. So it's life these days looks like that, and I completely understand that shocking level of trust, because I just mentioned how I and my husband were buying crypto in a
Mhm.
basement. So actually, when we fundraised for our 20 vests and 20 helmets, our supplier told us that there is two ways to deliver it to Ukraine faster, to make order that is bigger than 100 units it on the 20, and to pay it in crypto. We have never done that before. So we just reached other people who are also had intention to buy body armor with the same supplier. And we found six more people, and all the six people that have never seen me send their fundraised money to me with just no questions. I said, guys, maybe you need my passport, my ID. Oh my gosh, thank you for your trust. And I was surprised. It was a huge amount of money, and we wasn't like friends, or we even didn't know each other at all. But now we're really close friends with these people, and they know my parents, and everything was perfect.
Beautiful. Are they all Kievans? Are you planning to celebrate together our victory?
They are now all around the world, but they are still committed and still doing volunteering job.
Of course, of
Yeah,
course.
and also I wanted to ask you, how is your city? How is Zaporizhia now? And I know that you're having Zaporizhia radar.
I keep telling this to everyone I meet. I have Zaporizhia radar, and then 15 minutes later, we test it and we pass the test. So yes, Zaporizhia is on the front line currently. Not yet invaded by the enemy, but about 60% of the Zaporizhia region is occupied by Russians. Uh, and since it's such a frontline city, a lot of my fellow Zaporizhians flew to the west of the country at the beginning of the war, escaping Russian invasion. And when I was working with journalists, we were looking for interesting stories all around us, and it became ridiculous. I was just coming into a room full of people looking for a certain kind of story, and I approached a random person, and the third question was, "Where are you from?" And that person would be from Zaporizhia. My favorite story is not about these journalistic adventures. It is about a networking experience. So I helped to evacuate a prominent Ukrainian artist from Kiev.
Wow.
And at some point, when he ended up in London with his daughter, she approached me and asked me to help her buy body armor for some soldiers. And we just jumped down that rabbit hole of donations and logistics. And at some point, I decided to clarify whom we were buying the armor for. And she told me that the soldiers were actually from Zaporizhia and they were defending my city. And after some time, I realized that we went to school together.
Oh
So
my gosh.
through London, through people I have never actually met in person, I ended up helping guys who went to the same school as I did.
Oh my gosh. I love these stories.
There is some spatial magic involved in this.
Yes, maybe I'm having Maria radar. It was very, very tough week. And like we already spent all money we fundraised for different military needs. And one battalion wrote us that they really need, uh, I forgot this word, quadrocopter. How?
Uh, I
No,
understand you
Drone.
perfectly, but I can't help with translation.
Drone. They needed a drone, and like it cost a lot, like $1,000. Like, oh
Mhm.
my gosh, they really need it. And I just shared with my friends, like, gosh, we just spent all money, but we need drone. And in a second, my friend is answering me, oh, we found money for that. I will buy it tonight. So Alexandra, thank you so much. You are the best. And
Thank you.
and
It's such a pleasure.
yeah, but Alexandra is in Norway. How to deliver it to Ukraine? And just my friend Maria is saying, "Oh, I will ask my friends." And then Maria is finding another friend of our common friend. It's also Maria,
Uh-huh.
who is delivering this drone from Poland. So Maria is delivering drone from Norway to Poland, and another Maria is delivering this drone from Poland to Lviv. And there I asked another Maria to deliver it to Ukraine. And you know, this moment I felt like we are like Agent Smith in Matrix. A lot of Agent Smiths, a lot of Marias, and one drone.
This is beautiful. We should just have a battalion of Marias, and they would be the most efficient on the
Yeah, they
front
will deliver only one drone, you know.
line. That's an understatement.
Yeah, and also I would like to ask you about your recent project because you were a producer of film about sexual violence in Ukraine during this war. And first of all, it's really a hard topic. So how you decided to join such project and how the process looked like?
Right. Well, the Kiev region, it was occupied by Russians at the beginning of the war, and it was liberated at the beginning of April. And once the Russians were forced out, horrible stories started coming up to the surface, and we realized that sexual violence was used by the Russian army as a weapon of war. And simultaneously, the sort of interest and engagement with Ukraine started to dwindle. And at this point, we see that we have to look for stories with a more lasting impact, for stories that show that all these calls for appeasement, for compromises with aggressor, for territorial concessions, for all that kind of bullshit is absolutely, it cannot be supported because we know what happens to Ukrainians in territories occupied by Russia. It's basically death, torture, rape, and we cannot concede any territories to the aggressor state, and we have to fight to liberate all Ukrainian cities and towns all over the country that are currently under Russian control, so that the suffering of our compatriots is not prolonged. And while looking into topics like this, it's very important to be sensitive, because you do not want to re-traumatize people who have been through terrible experience. And you have to sort of balance the journalistic instincts of Western media, of our media, with the care for those people who trust you with their stories and their pain. So I just decided that I want to be involved, and I want to try to make a good job uh, from all of this. So we worked with a group of journalists for a Swiss documentary about sexual crimes in Ukraine. And I hope that it will be out at some point in the nearest future, because we really need the world to know what happens on the occupied territories of Ukraine, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you for doing this important job. Looking forward to watch this film.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I have like two more questions to you. It's like 34 minutes of our talk. We have six wonderful listeners
Hello.
to
Hello.
which, and if you have any questions about any topic or just any random question, please feel free to text it on YouTube, on Facebook, or on Twitter. And meanwhile, I have a question. The strangest question you were asked.
During this war, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh God, I know it.
But if you have the strangest question in your life, you also can talk about
It's probably for another conversation.
it. Okay.
After we celebrate our victory and drink a few glasses of wine, we will be discussing that and only that. The strangest question is also the most common question that journalists keep asking both myself and everyone we meet. The question sounds like this: how do you feel about it? And people's jaws usually drop. They try to control their facial expressions, and then they respond with something upbeat. And journalists get answer like, "I want to see as many Russians dead as I possibly can," or something like that.
Yeah.
And people return to their work. But it's really hard to answer the question like this at this point in time, don't you think, Maria?
Exactly. Just questions that make me like just really start doing strange noises and like, gosh, how can you feel about that? Because that is so huge, so diverse. Here you are laughing, here you are hating, here you are hoping. So it's just crazy. And I started swearing so much, and
Mhm.
I cannot answer on this question without swearing words. And you always have to translate your emotions. Like instead of saying crazy shit, you have to say deeply concerned. And I think we should have one war life balance dedicated to lexic and words we're using, because when we're saying like, when during the first day of the war I were answering like, I'm okay, I'm trying to work, it actually means everything is fucked up and I am trying to survive. But they were doing another answer.
Exactly. Just let's put it in brackets for people who would like to hear us answer this question.
Like, or are you safe? Like, I'm safe. That means, yeah, I'm not. I haven't been bombarded yet. So
I have two hands to type this message to you. Hi, hi. That's a success story. Well, and I just wanted to ask you about the most stupid question you were asked during this time, or maybe the most extraordinary question that made you think.
oh, the most extraordinary I were asked today. Like, yeah, you know about it. It's how I see my career in future.
Yeah.
Very extraordinary because I don't see my career. I have no idea how it looks like from the side, but it's impossible to think even about your career, because I notice that often people are talking about Ukraine as if we have already won and everything is resolved, and like we can have normal life. Yes, like my gym is working, but
Mhm.
we're not having normal life, and I don't know, I'm not able to think about career. So like,
The horizon of planning is just too short. You basically can plan for maximum one day ahead, and not like, where do you see yourself in 10 years' time?
oh, I see myself alive. That's all that I can say now. And how you are seeing your career, like to finish task for this day. That's how I see my career.
Exactly, exactly. I'm sure that your career, whatever it takes you, will be brilliant and we all
It,
be
it take me
praised.
it take me on Twitter. Is it okay?
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. This is how we roll today.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Like, oh my gosh, I am so young, but I'm so old. And then last question: what is your favorite meme about this war?
Oh my God, I don't know. It's probably not a meme. It's part of mythology at this point. It's this woman. I think she's from Henichins, who encountered armored Russian soldiers on the streets of her town, and she came to them and she basically, not quite politely, asked them to fuck off to where they are from, and then she threw some sunflower seeds at them and told them to put the seeds into their pockets so that they can become fertilizers for the fertile Ukrainian soil, and so that sunflowers can grow out of their bodies during the summer. That was quite morbid, but I loved that. I love that. I
Yeah.
love the stamina of just coming at people with weapons and basically telling them that they are maximum fertilizer for your soil. What's your favorite meme, Maria?
I love a lot of them, and I know that Osnowy Publishing, they are preparing a books of Ukrainian memes because they are just gorgeous. Like yesterday, I saw really nice memes that there is two types of guys. One guy is always talking on the phone, worrying and not doing anything, and it's Emmanuel Macron. There is one guy that just crossing 3,000 kilometers just to have a walk with you, and it's Boris Johnson.
Hello to our British listeners.
That was special to them.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just enjoying Ukrainian memes. Another meme I found a little bit offensive because that I forgot the name of this guy, but I love reading him on Twitter because he just have like, great explanations and position on Ukraine. Oh wow, we have 54. We have Alexander. We're having 54 listeners. I just 56, but I thought we are having only 5. We should be more serious about what we're talking about.
Exactly. Oh my God. Will
Oh
there
my
be
God.
recording, Maria?
Oh my gosh.
I really felt too relaxed for such an audience.
Oh
Thank you for being here, guys.
yeah, I also was so relaxed. Like my closest 5 friends came here. I was like, oh my gosh, 54 people. Who are you guys? You can also tell your stories here, and it's also a huge pleasure to know more about people who are supporting Ukraine actually and who are donating. It's always very interesting to listen to these stories because
I
because
hope that, yeah, go ahead.
I were talking about guys that told me that I am the first Ukrainian he ever speak with, but later it figured out that we both got a master degree in literature and we are both struggling to find a job. And the only one difference between us that I'm not having student loan because student loans doesn't exist in Ukraine, and now he's interested to moving in here because here is no student loan, guys. But it's like Russian missiles,
Yeah,
Ukraine is not perfect.
that's a complication for sure. I was just wondering about your vision for this podcast. What's in your mind? How will it develop?
I would really love having you as a co-host next time because I still find your sense of humor really cool.
I
And
didn't fail! Yay!
and I would like to invite one more friend of mine to listen her story and just discuss few questions. And also I really huge fan of crazy delivery stories
Mhm.
because as you may know, we have a lot of payment regulations, so it's hard to buy aid abroad and it's so hard to deliver something. So I just adore this crazy story how one thing can get to the battlefield, and I just adore listening to these stories.
I think we need battle-hardened volunteers to tell us how they are doing these extraordinary things. Both brave and just insane in terms of logistics, indeed.
Yeah, it's like very zen. Like people who are organizing this delivery, they're Zen Buddhists. I just admire them.
I admire you. Maria is a person who generates fundraising ideas at the speed of 15 ideas per minute when we are having coffee dates in wartime Kiev. Like, oh my God, whatever you do with your life, girl, I'm in for it. I'm just very interested to see where it's going, and I'm sure it's all going to be fine.
Yeah, you just didn't know me before the war, but because before the war I was, I should get one more education. I should get two PhDs to launch my own business. No, I should just keep thinking about this idea, and then maybe in the next year I will realize that Maria War Edition, like just we're launching this in the next hour, and just life is short, guys. So it's great idea to stop hesitating, or Russian missiles will come and will force you to stop hesitating. And just it's sad when you are just more active and less overthinkable because of such sad reasons.
True.
I hope you will be less overthinkable because of our talk, not because of Russian missiles.
Exactly. You don't need Russian missiles in your life to speed up. Um,
Yeah, and another great suggestion from Sasha: prepare to don't know what.
the don't want to know what will find you, whether you are prepared or not. So,
Prepared because you prepare to don't know what. It's very actually it sounds stupid for someone, but it's a very deep idea. Prepare to don't know what. So you're prepared to crazy shit, and it's not a surprise when it comes. So yeah, you indeed prepared.
just to boost my literary credentials, I'm thinking about Rebecca Solnit's book, A Field Guide to Getting Lost, which is basically a smart way to say prepare to don't know what and don't be afraid.
That's brilliant. And I'm deeply grateful for you sharing this experience with me because it was the first Twitter space talk in my life.
Yes, same here. It was a delight. Maybe we should see if there are any questions from the audience.
On Facebook, on YouTube. My friend Irina were listening when
Of
it's
course.
nice. Irina, thank you. You're amazing.
The famous Irina who delivers stuff to the front line and also was really disappointed when not handed a weapon at the start of the invasion.
Yeah, and this lady, she just sat on her car and drive to Donbass to deliver a lot of expensive things with Andres and was that's crazy. And she spent the night on a field in a tent with our military on Donbass and came back. Oh my gosh. Just
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
yeah. So no questions on YouTube.
I don't think we have any on Facebook, or I just don't know where to look for them. That's a strong possibility.
In case we missed brilliant questions from our audience, we swear we will answer it on the beginning of our next talk.
Precisely. Signed.
So thank you for your attention, and we're sending what we're sending, Alexandra.
Our warmest, also warmed up by the warm summer weather, hugs and wishes from Kiev. And we hope to see you here next week.
Yay! And so it's time to get back to our third job, Alexandra.
Support the Ukraine, stand with Ukraine, and please do support the Ukrainian military because these are people who are keeping us alive.
Yeah, and just in case you want to look what we are doing, I am posting a lot of reports on Facebook. And if you would like to donate to tourniquets or something like that, maybe later we will make a Patreon, so you can donate if you would like our channel to survive, our channel to buy tourniquets for military. So that's the main reason. So feel free to text me or Alexandra if you would like to donate or you have brilliant idea. We're pretty open to collaborations or something like that, or just if you want to chat or something like that.
Precisely. We are open to all suggestions on how to bring Ukrainian victory closer to us, because this is what we are both looking forward to.
Yep. So now I see my career now just to win all this crazy shit.
Exactly, exactly. And
Now I have this answer for that question, like how I see myself.
you are hired.
Oh, great.
Right. Okay. I guess see you next week. It
See
was
you next week.
bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye bye.